for Mayor Cruz to participate in the meeting.
I missed the meeting last night because I was in the Legion meeting, so I had my stand-in watch.
Jeannie was an active participant, Bob, in the meeting.
That's what I understand.
Yeah, good question.
The other good thing from the meeting, and for some reason my video cut out before the decision was made, but I read in Zoe's article this morning, was that the city council decided to have an open application process for the spot that Jason left vacant, which I think was the best decision. So I was really pleased to read that.
Yeah, Brooke is absolutely correct. The council, so there were two options for council, and that included appointing a member of the community to fill the vacancy, or to go to special election. And council did opt to fill the vacancy, but to do it through a application and interview process. So
I am very familiar with that situation. I had to go through that myself. And the interview process is live and in person. Yeah.
Right. The government code requires that the council conduct interviews of council applicants at a city council meeting. So it's for everybody to watch and view, and hear the candidates. Ultimately, it's council's decision to choose who they determine is the most qualified applicant to fill the vacancy. But it's a very public process.
Oh, yeah.
So talk about recordings. It's not up quite yet. When do they typically come up? I was looking forward to seeing that this morning, but dying to see it come up, but it hasn't come up quite yet. Irene,
It's on YouTube already.
It wasn't on the website then. Okay.
Yeah, it gets.
So unfortunately, Marta is not going to be able to join us. It's not working with her phone. She can't use the link, and it's not working with the phone number part. So Marta apologizes, but she will not be able to join us this morning. So Todd, I know I believe is here. Yes, Todd's here. So welcome, Vice Mayor Lands. And
good morning, everyone. I have Marta on the line as well at the same time.
Thompson, Assistant Manager. Irene, good morning. And Bob, as usual, Bob of all trades and all skills and talents, Green, and our board member, Bert Bernstein. Thanks for joining us, Donna. And whenever you want to get started, we're ready.
Melanie, if it's okay with the group, while Vice Mayor Lands is coordinating with Mayor Cruz on the phone, I'll just start with an overview of the meeting last night. So there's a couple of important items in regards to the filling the vacancy and designation of mayor and vice mayor. Obviously, we've kind of revealed already. We had our reveal party here, but before that, just to touch on a couple of things that were covered last night. The meeting started with a presentation by our library commissioner, Reese Foxon, and our Cloverdale librarian, Anna Daw. So the library had an opportunity to provide an update from kind of the perspective of the library system and some of the projects that they've been working on during COVID. One of the exciting elements of their presentation was this new electric van that they are going to be placing into service that has a whole lot of functionality for providing library services, as well as really digital access to the library system. It's pretty neat. I don't know all the details of this new vehicle and when exactly it's going to be placed in service, but Reese did provide, again, just an update on the library system and some of the improvements that they've been able to undertake since we've been in the pandemic. So it was, great update, great presentation by Reese as well as Anna Dawes. And there was a reminder, and this is something to share with any of your friends and family who may be interested. Reese has been serving as a library commissioner since about 2014. And so she's actually going on her third term, I think, now as library commissioner, and she's ready to kind of step back and enjoy retirement. And so we are recruiting for a library commissioner for the proposed appointment by the city council. So if any of you are interested, there is a application. It's going to be very similar to the council application, but it's a little bit more basic. That's available on our website, and we can share that with Susie Croft if you like. If you want to, share that with your membership. And encourage any of you who are interested in supporting the library system to express, to submit your application if you're interested in serving as a commissioner. It's a pretty exciting role, and you get to be part of a lot of their new planned activities and programs that the library system is unveiling in Sonoma County. We've got a really great library system. It's a great role. So after the presentation, we moved on to the consent agenda. It was a pretty light consent agenda. It was just really the minutes of the last meeting. Of course, the last meeting was a long one, so there was a long set of minutes. But then we moved on to the regular calendar. And one of the items on the regular calendar was our annual process for the landscape and lighting districts. We have one district with 7 zones. The good news is this year, out of the 7 zones, 5 are experiencing decreases in their annual assessments, and I think that was reflected in the level of public comments we received this year, which were basically very little to none. One district is, or excuse me, one zone is. The assessments are going to be the same as last year, and then last but not least, the one zone does experience or is being recommended for minor rate increases. So with the council's action they took last night was to approve the preliminary engineering report and recommend that we set a public hearing for formal adoption on June 9th. So that was a fairly smooth action. We have to divide up the approval of the assessments because we do have council members that are located within the zone. So when you look at that item on the agenda, you'll see that there are three resolutions, and we do that so that we can reduce and avoid conflicts for council members that reside within the zones. And that way they can recuse themselves from voting since it has a material impact on their property. Moving on from the landscape and lighting districts discussion, there was an item on the agenda regarding the water shortage emergency that was declared at the previous council meeting. A couple of follow-up actions were taken by council. The first of which was to adopt a resolution declaring a local emergency in accordance with what's referred to as the Emergency Services Act. What that enables us to do is if the federal government declares a local emergency due to the drought, it enables the city to apply for reimbursement of expenses that it incurs responding to the drought emergency. A federal declaration hasn't been made yet, but it's kind of an advanced effort to be ready to go, and we can start tracking expenses that we may incur related to the drought. And it does provide for the opportunity for the city to take other emergency actions should it be necessary, again, to respond to the drought conditions. At this point, we don't know how how exacerbated drought conditions may become, but we want to be ready to address them should we need to. But a concurrent action related to the water shortage emergency was council took action to also adopt a resolution to manage new and larger water connections to our water system. There's a provision in the city's code that provides for how the city will manage new and large, new connections. None really planned at this particular point, though there are some development projects out there that may be seeking access, and this provides the opportunity for a greater level of review and consideration in terms of their connections to the water system because of our drought. So both of those actions or both of those resolutions were approved unanimously by our city council. And Vice Mayor Lands, I just want to check in with you if there's anything you wanted to add on anything I've said so far.
No, David, you're doing a great job, and I really appreciate you filling in. I've definitely been thrown into this role real quick and wasn't ready for today. And Marta couldn't log in, so she's having a difficult time and couldn't make it. The only thing I would add on the last part of that was that they said there is one development that is already that is allowed to hook up to the water. And the other portion of that was anybody that's building like an ADU or a small single family or a house would be able to still get onto our water system. It's the multifamilies or large developments that would not.
Right. And Vice Mayor Lands is absolutely right. And the development that it is referring to is Cherry Creek Village. It's a project on the boulevard. And that site and project has had water access for quite a while. So it's not really a new connection per se. It's just, they're demolishing some of the older units there and replacing them with new units. And so it may even be that the water usage will be less than what it is currently because of all the new efficiency fixtures and so forth that are, and new irrigation requirements that are required to be met with the new current building code. So moving on from the water item, we got to the discussion about how to fill the vacancy left by our former mayor and council member Jason Turner. Of course, council member acknowledged the contributions of former Mayor Turner and how much we've missed him and how much he contributed to collegial discussion amongst the council. But after that, the council, got down to the business of how best to address the vacancy. Staff provided, of course, with the help of our city attorney, an overview of the requirements in the government code that dictate how the council can fill the vacancy. And staff did propose and outline, two options for council to consider. One option was to, fill it with appointed person to fill the vacancy. And we explained that there's really no specific guidance on how to fill that vacancy other than the requirement is council has to fill it within 60 days. So it puts a pretty strict timeline on how quickly council has to fill that position. The resignation of Mayor Turner came on May 2nd, so council has until July 2nd to make their appointment. And if they don't, the other option comes into play is for council to require or request a special election. The council was with the impacts of conducting a special election, and I don't mean to make it sound negative, just as, what are requirements associated with a special election. Of course, one sensitivity is cost. Our city clerk, Irene Camacho, discussed with our register of voters, and determined that the cost would be between approximately $60,000 and $50,000 to conduct a special election. And associated with that are some timelines that couldn't be conducted, no sooner than 130 days after. So it really means that a special election would occur in November. So it's almost 6 months from now is when a special election would occur. But council ultimately decided to fill the vacancy by appointment. But in order to do so, the council opted to conduct an application process and directed staff to prepare the application. There was a set of questions that were included in the agenda report that are reflective of similar questions that other cities have utilized when they've had to take similar action to fulfill a vacancy. And they're pretty broad in terms of covering a person's professional background, their experience, and what uniquely qualifies them to serve as a council member. So we'll be working on getting that application out to the community as soon as we can. We hope to do it sooner rather than later. Because the goal is ultimately to conduct interviews, or to have council conduct interviews at their first meeting in June, which is scheduled on June 9th. That gives them a little bit of flexibility should they need to take any follow-up actions on their following meeting in June. And I believe that's June 23rd, which again is under that 60-day timeline of June 2nd. So again, council gave staff the direction to get that application out. More than likely, the council will take a look at the applicants, review them. They can, if they decide, pare down. Let's say, for instance, get 25 applications, and they decide ultimately, well, maybe we want to interview 10 of those 25. The 10 that they select would be those that get interviewed. And the requirement is, and Bob Cox alluded to it earlier, as he'd been through the process, those interviews are conducted live at a council meeting in open session. So the full community gets to hear the candidates speak and address the questions that are provided for by the city council. So again, just a quick overview. Application process will go out very soon, and council will conduct interviews. What we're looking at is June 9th at the council meeting. So keep posted, and you'll probably see a news release on our website about the application process, along with the application. And if there are interested members of the community that are interested in a seat on the council to fill this vacancy, they can certainly are welcome to apply for council's consideration. Ultimately, it's their authority to appoint a person to fill that vacancy, which the term of Jason Turner ends in December of 2022. So upon taking the seat, it's just about a year and a half that it remains in the term of our former mayor. So that was a really critical decision council made last night, and you'll see staff make progress on getting that application out very shortly. Vice Mayor Lands, is there anything you want to add to that? Any perspective you want to share?
No, sir. I thought it was a very good conversation. With the appointment process, there was a lot of different directions that could have gone as well, and some council members attempted that, which is fine either way. And I was hoping that, one way or another, I was just glad that we could all collaborate and come together and make a decision to move forward swiftly and efficiently, because we need to get this done. And I think the process we came up with was the best way to go. So I was in complete agreement.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for weighing in, Vice Mayor. And then following the decision on filling the vacancy, council took up the discussion on appointment of mayor and vice mayor. And again, because of the vacancy left by Jason Turner, there was a position, appointed position by, or appointed position for the mayor position. And just for background, the council every year, usually at their first meeting in December, goes through a process of appointing the mayor and vice mayor for the following calendar year. And of course, Jason Turner was appointed the mayor for calendar year 2021, and Councilmember Cruz was appointed the vice mayor for 2021. In the absence of the mayor, the vice mayor serves as the acting mayor. So for the proceedings last night, Marta Cruz was served as the acting mayor. But ultimately, council had to decide how they wanted to appoint a member of council to serve as mayor. And after deliberation and in a passionate speech by Vice Mayor, council agreed to appoint her as the mayor so she can serve the remainder of the term that was vacated by Jason as the mayor for the remainder of the year. And subsequent to that action, of course, since Marta was the vice mayor and became the mayor, we had to backfill the vice mayor position. And our very own Todd Lance, Councilmember Lance, was appointed as our vice mayor. So I want to acknowledge our vice mayor and say congratulations to your new role. And that really sums up the actions of the council last night. So our new mayor is Marta Cruz, and our new vice mayor is Todd Lance. So and just for reference, the vice mayor will often serve in the capacity of the mayor when the mayor is unavailable, for example, like you see vice mayor here today. Will also preside over the meetings if a mayor is absent for one reason or another, or unable to attend a meeting, and also to represent the city in any kind of proceedings or special ceremonies, and sometimes even on regional boards and appointments. There are certain boards that our council members serve on where it's the mayor, and therefore if the mayor is not available, the vice mayor serves. So that kind of sums up the actions of the council meeting last night. So pretty exciting. We've got for the remainder of this calendar year, new mayor and vice mayor. Got a lot of business ahead of us. Of course, first and foremost is to fill this position that was vacated by Mayor Turner. Let's see. One other thing I just wanted to share with the group. We are planning to bring forward the draft budget for council's consideration at their next meeting in May. I guess that would be 26th.
Yes.
Yeah, make sure I got my dates right. The budget does include proposed funding for the senior center, but we do have a funding request by the senior center, and that will be part of the council's deliberation discussion as how to vital nonprofit organizations within the community. So that's kind of an update, and that's the end of my report on the council meeting last night. And I see a message from Susie asking about fire prevention. There wasn't a specific agenda item about fire prevention last night, but there was a mention by Mayor Cruz about a grant application that staff is working on. That we are working on a grant application to submit to California Cal Fire, as we call them, or formerly California Department of Forestry, CDF, for vegetation management work at the Porterfield Open Space, which is our 250-acre open space preserve located west of Porterville Creek and Clover Springs. And the intent there is to address, some of the down vegetation and also, some of the non-native and invasive vegetation that contributes to fire hazards. So we hope to be successful in our grant requests because vegetation management activities are really labor intensive. Really requires a lot of work crews and time to get in there and to do what's otherwise pretty physical labor, removing dead trees, chipping and mulching vegetation. And, the hope is too, we can also utilize some environmentally friendly efforts in goats, things like that, to help manage some of the grassy vegetation, particularly at the interface to the Clover Springs residential development there, so we can help address the potential impact of wildfire at that interface. So I think that concludes my report. And Vice Mayor, I'll turn it over to you if there's anything else you'd like to add or share with the group in general about the council, other actions we're planning to take, or any other updates.
Thank you, sir. Just one more thing to add to the fire. Another thing we're working on, Jason Jenkins, our fire chief, gave a presentation a couple meetings back, and he talked about the fire coming from the east side being more dangerous to our town than coming from the west side because of the winds and things that go on at that time. Growing up here, I always thought the worst thing that we could ever have is that hill coming from our west side catching on fire, because it hasn't in over 60 years. And so it surprised me to hear that. And then with the 2 homeless fires we had on the river already, it made me real nervous about the fires not having our vineyard and river buffer. So James Gore has agreed and is working with, and I actually just received an email as I was reading as I was sitting here, about bringing in the SAT crews to clean the riverbed along the bank in between the houses and the river to try to clean all the invasive vegetation that's growing there that's been catching on fire. So they're going to bring in the inmate crews and try to clean that stretch. I'm pushing to get basically anything that lines Cloverdale and see how far we can get with it and see what they can agree to and what the time frames they'll allow. So that's another part of it that we're working on at the same time with fire.
Good.
Yeah, the only other thing I would add is I'm excited to work with Marta Cruz, Mayor Cruz, and I don't think it's any secret that we have differing opinions on a lot of things, but that's what I like, is we represent different people and different ideas, and we've done nothing but work well together so far, and I look forward to it. So I don't want 5 of me in there, because that doesn't represent our community. And I'm excited to see how it works out over the next, 7 months. So any questions, I'm here for you. And I'm sorry, Mayor Cruz couldn't make it. I see Mark Rincon logged on. Do you think that, Mark, I don't know if that's you or if that's Marta using your logon possibly, but either way, I wasn't sure. Mark, is that you or is that?
It's me, Councilmember Lance, but I have Marta Cruz via telephone and she's listening.
Beautiful, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't her logged in for you. I'm sorry she couldn't make it, and I'm sorry she can't get on here. So any questions, I'm here and available for anything you guys want.
Yes, thank you.
I was hoping that Mark might be able to touch on the proclamation that happened last night at the council meeting. I was able to make it till 8 o'clock, and then I guess I missed all the excitement after that. So Mark, I would love if you're able to talk a little bit about the proclamation, and I believe it was in honor and recognition of the Public Works crew.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's correct. It's a ongoing yearly proclamation of recognizing the value that Public Works adds to city governments throughout the nation. So it's kind of like a standing recognition that happens once a year. It's Public Works Week, believe it or not, and the American Public Works Association has this ongoing weekly celebration, just recognizing all the necessities that Public Works provides support for cities throughout the country. And so a very nice resolution was put together recognizing the staff in Public Works. But if you have any other questions specifically about the drought, I'd love to talk about that as well.
I think we'd love to hear what you have to say, Mark.
Things are dire. What can I say? You know, things are pretty bad in the river. You know, I know we're all being swamped with nonstop assaults on all fronts, and yet here we have another, you know, a drought year, a significant drought year, and we're probably overusing this word significantly, unprecedented, et cetera, but it's bad enough that we still need to get the word out. You know, right now our target is a 25% cutback from 2020 levels, community-wide. So we're not targeting any individual account holder per se, but we probably start moving towards that direction as the season progresses. So just, you know, keep in mind that this is step one of probably a multi-step approach to managing through the drought. And yeah, you know, like I said, we're keeping on. For some reason, I'm getting beeps over here, but so anyways, you know, again, keep tuned in. We're trying to get the word out with everybody, and you know, getting information to all the account holders. I will be sending letters to individual account holders, the larger consumers of water, specifically the large ones are going to be the typical, you see them around town, the HOAs that have a lot of lawn, et cetera, and, you know, working with them individually to see how we can best meet the demands of this drought.
Yeah, I think Darlene Peck had brought up a point at maybe either the last meeting about her HOA insisting that the lawns stay green. Darlene, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, that was true. When the previous California drought was acknowledged by the governor, that requirement eased off. So I'm anticipating much the same now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we are gonna put in rates that, you know, of course they encourage conservation, and so I would hope that would get the word out. But I don't want anyone to be caught by surprise. So we're being as proactive as we can, and we will work with individual account holders to just kind of conserve water. We've already reached out to the school district, and you'll see the browning of their fields. In addition to the city facilities, you know, our parks are starting to show that they're not being watered sufficiently to keep the grass green, but that's our intent. You know, we're keeping the playing fields safe, but everything else, we're just going to cease watering for the most part. We will drip irrigate where appropriate, or hand water where appropriate, just to preserve our you know, costs of maintaining landscaping. But we're going to be, you know, the plants will be stressed. Basically, bushes will be stressed, trees, young saplings will be stressed, but we'll try to keep them alive through the season.
Thank you.
Yeah, Darlene, and if the HOA you belong to needs technical assistance with your irrigation system, let us know, because there are sometimes operational changes that can be made that reduce, you know, the timing and frequency of irrigation to help meet conservation targets, but also provide, you know, water to keep the, you know, your landscaping, you know, alive. So that, you know, there's some scientific practices that can be utilized. I'm not an irrigation expert, but we can certainly coordinate to determine, you know, what are some steps that might be able to be undertaken to help, you know, conserve water, but also, you know, preserve irrigation. So, you know, to tag on to city engineer's comments, you know, the city took immediate action after the direction by council to implement the 25% reduction by immediately resetting all of our irrigation controls at city parks and facilities to you know, reduce water use by 25% at a minimum. In some cases, it will be more. We are also working on and it's drafted, and I think it's about ready. I think it's finalized, was a notification that will be sent out to all of our water customers providing, a list of water usage restrictions, some of which include, ensuring that you use a flow control for, if you wash a vehicle, you have a nozzle, automatic turn off nozzle. The amount of water used to irrigate and making sure it's not excessive, so that if you see overflow onto sidewalks or streets, we would definitely want to work with our customers to reduce that, because that's considered water waste, and we want to preserve every drop we can. So that billing insert will be going out shortly. In addition, want to definitely encourage all of you, if you have not already, to sign up for the city's weekly newsletter. We'll be including information in the newsletter about measures you can take to conserve water saving tips, and things you can do in your household to help preserve water. I think it's helpful. And in addition to that, there's obviously other city news that we want to keep everybody updated on. I think we dedicate time and energy to put in the newsletter, and we want to ensure it gets out to as many of you as possible. And all you have to do is go to our website and under notify me, sign up, put your email in, and you can get copies of the newsletter. Usually they come out either Thursday evening or on Friday, and you'll get updates on a number of things, including the drought. In addition, staff has formed what we call kind of a funny name or acronym called a WORT. And what that stands for is Water Emergency Response Team. It's an all hands on deck team from engineering, public works, planning, city manager's office, city clerk, as well as our water operations team, looking at all aspects of our water system to identify, first and foremost, we want to make sure we're tracking our well levels and seeing how they're performing as we continue into dry conditions, and monitoring our usage to see how we're doing and performing as a community on, reducing our water usage. But also, what is the messaging that we can provide to the community to support your efforts? We want to be proactive. We want to be positive and work with the entire community to see how we can, it's one of those things I really truly believe we can all take small steps, and it can have a big impact. And of course, if we take big steps, it can have an even bigger impact. But if we collectively do a lot of things, like I know I'm not good at, as my wife reminds me, is when I'm brushing my teeth, turn off the water. But there's a lot of simple things like that we can do to make every drop count, and that's really what it's all about. And it'll help make the difference, because this community has stepped up before and saved water when we've had these drought conditions. Unfortunately, it's kind of seems like a way of life in California, but we get through it, and we're all the better because of it. So hopefully we'll be able to we'll get through this one, and come fall, well, let's all hope for some good rainfall. But staff is taking the drought very seriously, and we're monitoring very closely, and we're going to be you'll see a lot of different things come out of City Hall to address and provide information to the community on how you can conserve water at the household level.
I thought it was well covered in the most recent Clover newsletter as well. Many of your points. Yes.
Thank you, Darlene.
David, I wonder if there's a way for you to email Susie the link, and we can post that on our senior center page, or even do an email blast to get people's attention to our membership's attention to the fact that you have a weekly newsletter coming out, and it's going to have very important information, certainly in the next few months, with high fire danger, drought, and who knows, hopefully nothing besides that. Would that work?
We can, I think we could, well, Irene, let's work together, and let's see what we can share with Melanie and Susie, how folks can sign up. It's really easy to sign up, but want to make sure we give you the right link and you have it, and put a little message, that would be really appreciated. Much like your newsletter is so valuable, it's great information. You want to get it out as much to the community as possible.
Okay. I guess Irene will we'll figure it out amongst us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they will.
All
And just briefly, I think it was Donna who inquired about the YouTube link. That should be up shortly. YouTube hit a snag just right before 8:30, so we were lucky to have backup recording, and Alan, our audiovisual tech, does a great job of editing and trimming up the video, so it's nice and fresh when people view it. So that should be up momentarily on both YouTube and on the city website.
It's on YouTube. It's just not on the website, which I didn't think to look on YouTube. Duh. Thanks. And I think way earlier, David Kelley was mentioning about our bus. It's called Bibliobus. It's really super cool. If you look at our midweek message, in fact, I got to host the midweek message this week. So, little plug. But we talked about the Bibliobus, and there's some pictures of it at the manufacturer. We don't quite have possession of it yet, but we will in June, and it'll be rolling through Sonoma County. It's made to reach outlying areas that we haven't been able to reach yet. So it's super cool, super cool. I haven't listened to Anna's thing, so I won't tell anymore because I haven't seen it yet.
All right, well, I guess we probably, unless somebody has another comment or question, we probably are ready to wrap this one up. But thank you all for coming and attending, and being bright-eyed and bushy-tailed there, Todd Lands in particular.
Well, thank you guys for having this and hosting this, and I look forward to the next few years with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.